Hello! So let's get started, and the first thing we need to do is set up our character and its movement and the camera settings. So I've only imported the 3D, farmer dude so far, and I'm going to set this up in the third person folder. So I'm going to go through my usual setup of setting the color of the folder so it's easier to find. You don't have to follow along with this part if you don't want to. This is just the way I do it. That way at a glance I can see. There's also, you can right click and add to favorites, and then right here you'll be able to get to them easier. I just do this because almost muscle memory, I guess. I'm going to rename this third person template character to BP player, and then I'm going to dismiss an alarm that I forgot I set. Then I'm going to double click and open him up. Because we need to go into the viewport and set the mesh to be our farmer dude. So we'll find him, farmer male. And he will look like some weird amalgamous creature from outside space. But we will just set that to none and then recompile. And then he's back. So back in our blueprints folder, we'll right click, new folder. This will be a characters folder. This will be all our characters go. And for right now, we're just going to set up our player folder. And this will hold his animation, blend spaces, and blueprint and all that. So right click, animation, blend space, farmer skeleton, BS underscore. I'll just call it base, I guess, because this will be his base running around. Double click, open that up. And we'll set up the axis settings over here on the left in the asset details. The horizontal axis is our direction we're moving, which we won't actually use in this one, I don't believe, because he doesn't have any strafing animations, but we'll just go ahead and establish this as minimum axis -180, maximum 180, and then we'll just leave that at 4. Make sure it is snapped to grid. Vertical axis is our speed, so we'll set that up to be 450 as per usual. 8 grid division, so we have a little bit more flexibility over the windows. And then we will just grab our idle animation and set it right here at the very bottom. Okay. And then he has a walk. With the control, we can kind of blend between them. I'm going to set another one about here at the 225 mark so that whenever he's at this range, he's always walking and not blending between the run. And then grab the run and set it here. And there we go, that's looking good. So we'll save that. Right click, and we will create our animation blueprint under the animation tab for the male skeleton of the farmer. ABP for animation blueprint, and player. Double click and open that up. In here we will right click and add a state machine. This is what handles your basic state, so whether you're in your run state, aiming state, if you have those kind of animations and what have you. And I'll just call this base machine. Now we're going to take this and we're going to set it into a save cached pose, and this will be our base cache. Basically it takes everything in here, puts it into a usable format that we can blend between over here. So if we grab that base cache, then we can do a layered blend per bone, and we'll be able to blend between different animations on a certain bone. So we're going to grab this again, copy it, paste it, and then from here, we're going to grab a default slot from the montage so that we'll be able to use anim montages. For the bone itself, let's go check the skeleton names. And I think Spine01 would be good for it. So under the config, we'll go to layer setup. I know it seems like I'm going through this probably kind of fast. It's because we've done this in so many videos that I'm sure y'all are not wanting a full breakdown. We'll just set Spine01. Is it capitalized? It is not capitalized. Blend depth of about 3. Mesh space rotation. Mesh space scale blending. Normalized by weight. Again, I'm still not completely sure exactly what these changes, other than without it, it looks like crap. So we'll copy this one more time, and we'll copy this also. So let me arrange this to where it's a little bit more visually understandable what's going on. And then right here, we'll take another default slot. This will be our root slot later on, which we'll probably go ahead and just set that up while we're here. And then for this bone, it will be our root, also uncapitalized. Root, blend depth of 0, none of this, and we want it to override. So we'll plug that in right here. Arrange it a little bit more visually appealing. So we're taking our base cache and checking to see if we're playing a slot or animation in our default slot, and then if we are, we're blending it, but we're checking first again to see if we're going to be blending through a root motion animation, and if it is, then it'll pull from that more. We can go ahead and set that under window right here. We can go to our anim slot manager, then we will add a slot. This will be root. And then once that's set up, you can click this and you'll have access to that little root drop down. So we can compile that. We'll get an error, but it's just because we haven't set up an actual state in here. But if all these are flowing in the right direction, then you got it going good. So we'll open up our base machine, add state, and you guessed it, base state, or default, or whatever you want to call it. Double click and open that up, and then this is where our blend space will go that we established. So we'll drag that out, hook it up. We can right click each of these and promote them to a variable. Just arrange it a little bit nicer. And then when we compile, now he's actually doing his little thing. And we can, oh, you can't actually, oh, you can't preview it. But what we can do is we can go over into the event graph. Then we will cast to our player BP. We'll get our try get pawn owner for the object. Then we can right click and promote that to a variable. Call that player ref. This way, if it gets too big, we can, instead of having a massive amount of these going, we'll be able to just use this and hook it where we want it. We'll add a sequence node right here because we're going to be checking a few different things. But first we need to get our character's direction and speed. So the way we do that is we will get our actor rotation. This is the direction that the actual actor owner of this is facing in the world. And we will get the velocity. This is basically the direction it's moving. So from the actor rotation, we can calculate the direction by feeding it in the velocity. So basically it checks to see which way you're facing, which way you're moving, and it says that's your direction. So we plug that in there, and that goes here. Now from the get velocity, we need to measure the vector length, because however far it's moving away from its start point is basically a representation of its speed. Based on how I understand. It might be different, but basically however long that vector is your speed. Compile that. Now we can go into our player blueprint one more time. With the mesh selected, under animation blueprint, we will hit ABP player. Compile that. We'll jump into the world to test it out. And he's running. Now notice there's an issue if he jumps, but we're going to be taking away the jump, so that doesn't matter. And he also kind of herky-jerky through these animations, so we'll fix that up real quick. Under the character movement component, we can set his max acceleration. 768 I find works pretty well. Play with values to see what you like though. The braking friction factor, this is how much used to multiply actual value of friction used when braking. This basically, it helps him slow down. So if it's a little bit lower, he kind of slows down, slows down more naturally. His max walk speed will make it match our blend space to 450, and the braking deceleration also 768. Now for this one, I don't want him to be able to walk off ledges. So what this little checkbox does is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show it anyway, is now he can't walk off ledges, no matter how hard I try. What you will notice is it kinda he's flying. We can adjust that through, where was it? Under the advanced, I think? Yeah. So if you click this little drop down under the advanced, right in that character movement walking, you can, there's these values. There is the perch radius threshold. I think this is the one. I'm going to set this to about 50 just as a test to make sure. I'm pretty sure that's the one you want to adjust to make sure. Yeah, so now it'll keep him from going too far off, and it looks a little bit more, you know, he's not flying. He's close, but, you know, that's fine. So 50 actually worked out pretty well. So let's fix up the camera situation. So for this character, we're also going to take away the jump real quick. So just in the event graph, take away the jump. For this character, we want that more traditional top-down kind of Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley style camera. So we'll go to the camera boom, and we're going to turn off use pawn control rotation. This takes away your mouse ability to rotate the camera. Now we will also need to take away the inherit pitch, yaw, and roll, and the reason we're going to take that away is because it will inherit the rotation of the character. So when you rotate, it gets very disorienting. So we'll just, the only one we really need to worry about is the yaw, but I'll just go ahead and disable all of them. Now with the camera boom still selected, we can rotate this up about -45, seems to work pretty good, and then the target arm length I'll set to 1000. Target arm length is just this red line, how far away it is from the player itself. So now we jump in. That might be a little bit too far. But it looks alright. That'll work for now. One issue you may come into is if you run way up here by the wall, some collision. Now some situations you may want that. For our purposes going forward, I do not, so I'm going to turn the do collision test off, and that will prevent that from happening on anything. We may come back and fix this later on depending, but for now, just jumping in, that way trees and buildings and such won't mess with us. Now there is one more thing we're going to need for our character setup. It's part of the grid system. We'll do that in the next one. So now we've got our character all established and ready to get started actually putting in our grid system and getting him going. So I will see y'all in the next one to get that going. See y'all there.